Hello everybody, this is Jurassic Adventures, and today I'll be customizing and painting this Toro figure to look more like Toro in Camp Cretaceous. I've wanted to do this custom ever since I saw Camp Cretaceous, and I saw this Toro figure and I just thought it didn't look very much like how it did in Camp Cretaceous. So I want to make the scar a little bit better by actually adding a scar on its face, and then I want to make the paint scheme more accurate. Before we can get to painting, we have to unbox the figure. This figure is exactly the same as the Control and Conquer Carnotaurus that we saw earlier this year, and so this will be great for customizing because it doesn't have a lot of joints and stuff that get in the way. So the first thing we have to do is the scar, and I tried to test the Dremel a little bit on there, and as you can see, it wasn't working too well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up a nail, actually, and then just burn the scar in. And I recommend you be very careful with that, because that can be dangerous, and you can burn yourself and all sorts of stuff. But, yeah, so please be careful with that, but that's what I'm going to do for this figure. So I just got complete adding the scar, and as you can see, it doesn't look that great right now, but that's because I need to still add up some putty around it, so it kind of looks like a scar. More. So I'm gonna add some like build up around it where like the skin would be torn and stuff like that, and then it'll look a lot better and a lot like deeper and more like a wound. I used some green putty to just make the build up around the scar, and now it looks a lot better. The edges look a little bit more raised and inflamed and ragged, how they would in the show. So I'm just going to let this solidify now, and we can move on to the next step. So now I'm going to start painting, and I have this underbelly color mixed up, and it's this kind of grayish beige color, and I'm going to use that for the underbelly instead of the just gray that comes with the figure. I've added the underbelly tone to the underbelly, of course, and then also the leg, because that's where it needs to be. And so now that that's done, we can go to the main body color, which is this sort of reddish orange brown. I'm now done with this orangey rust brown color, and it's pretty good looking in my opinion. And so now what I'm going to do, just to give it a little bit more color variations, I'm going to go in with this more toned brown and just shade some areas. So I got done doing the brown, and now it looks a lot less basic. There's a lot more color variation and more darker tones on the body, which looks better in my opinion. I also thought that the underbelly was actually a little bit too gray and a little bit too dark, so I lightened it up with a little bit more tan color, and I think now that looks better and more accurate to Toro. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the stripes that Toro has all over his body. The stripes are now all done, and it took me roughly 3 hours to do, which it was pretty time consuming, but I think the results are definitely worth the time that I spent. And it looks really nice, lots of aggressive stripes with this design, and I really do like it. So now we can move on to the next step. The next step is painting some lighter mocha tan stripes that Toro has. Now I'm done with the tan on the back, and that should be most of it. Here, I'm covering up the dark so you can see. But that should be it for airbrushing for now. So now I can move into some of the finer detail work, like on the face, some sort of spots, or bringing out certain scales and stuff. Maybe doing the scar and all the little details like the eyes and claws and everything else that needs to be done with fine brush work. So I painted the eyes just yellow right now, and I also did some little scaling and highlights on the face, But I wanted to show you a neat little technique I was using on the teeth of this figure. To get this sort of teeth look where it's rubbed off and you get those little brown edges, what you need to do is actually paint a little bit of transparent brown or brown on there under the white, and then just scrape it off with an X-Acto knife, and it gives this really cool little effect that the teeth are kind of dirty. I got the teeth done as I showed in the last segment. I got the fingernails and the toenails done. So now I gotta do the pupil and the eye, which is one of the most challenging parts of a repaint. The eyes are now all done on this figure. They look pretty good. I did add the little white dot, like I always do. But now I'm gonna start building up the sort of fleshy, bloody tones inside the scar. First tone is this sort of lighter, fleshy pink, but then we can start moving into the more darker red tones, like the blood tones. I'm all done with the scar. I used a total of 4 different pink and red tones. So I used that first fleshy pink that you guys saw, and then I darkened that up a bit. I used that. I used a really red, and then I darkened that up a bit, and I think the results are pretty nice, but I can even do more to make it better. So here's a paint by Citadel called Blood for the Blood God, and what this is it's a pretty thick transparent red, and it almost, as you can see, it looks just like blood on my finger. So if you apply that to the model, it'll make the blood and like the scars look very realistic and nice. I think I'm done with all the custom work on this figure, so now it's ready to be sealed. And it's done. As always, thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.